Welcome to 24 Hour Sports. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As you can see by the screen, we're starting this off with the Chicago Bears, and we're talking about why this may be their most important offseason ever if they have any hopes of competing in the competitive NFC. We're also going to talk about other free agency moves in this offseason, things that we can speculate, and some rumors that are already out there because it starts Monday. We may see some moves as soon as we wake up. We may see some moves talked about before we even go to sleep. So let's get straight into this with the video. Now, the Carolina Panthers traded up for the #1 overall pick with the Chicago Bears. Talk about the details. You can see it right here. Number 9, number 61, first round pick and second round pick. They also got DJ Moore, which is now their #1 weapon in Chicago. And that's not really a lot. A lot of people say this is a fleece. And I mean, you could say that. But for the Carolina Panthers, they're getting their franchise quarterback, somebody who's going to be the guy for the next decade. And that's really important to a team. You know, yeah, they could have had DJ Moore. Yeah, they could have kept the picks. But is it worth the risk? What is DJ Moore? What are those picks if they don't have that quarterback? So that's the first thing I want to get out of the way. But also, this number 61 overall pick is interesting to me. And I'm going to go over to the next tab because right here we got the Chicago Bears free agents. And you see that running back position right there. David Montgomery. I want to show you his market value because this is not just, you know, the average running back who's not going to command money. So 7.2 is his market value in the free agency tracker currently. And I think that number 61 pick, now understand, the Bears are a team that have a lot of holes, a lot of needs. And you may say, we don't need to be worrying about a running back. Let's get Montgomery, build around this team. But I think in this deep running back class, if you so choose to, you can get a Zach Charbonnet. You can get an A-Chain. You can get a Dwayne McBride. You can get one of those guys in the second round or the third round now that you put yourself in a prime position to get this pick right here. So that's something interesting to talk about. And, I mean, looking at the depth chart. Okay, so like we see, we're going to have DJ Moore. Mooney, like I said, can work out in the slot. Claypool is your number 2. So that's pretty solid. Offensive line is where it gets kind of interesting here. Tevin Jenkins, Braxton Jones, pretty solid. Cody Whitehair. But there's some real holes in this thing. Talk about right tackle, center, possibly even right guard, all of those things. And let's look at the edge here. Travis Gibson, a nice young player who I think has promise. Mike Pennell, Justin Jones, Dominique Robinson. Those type of guys, you know, this can be improved. All of it. I mean, on defense, you like Eddie Jackson. You probably like Kyler Gordon. I think Jalen Johnson has a bright future at the corner position. Jaquan Brisker, I think, personally, I see him as one of the best young safeties in the league. So, now, this linebacker position, let's wipe the slate. Let's wipe the slate. So, let's look at who we could possibly get. Who are the linebackers in this thing? And I'm going to take you right here. Looking at possible linebackers for the Chicago Bears. Nicholas Morrow, I think you probably re-signed him. He was pretty decent. Doesn't offer a lot in coverage, but as far as stopping a run, something you have to improve. You got to improve on everything defensively. I don't even know why I keep saying it. But right here, let's just look at the linebackers that we have in this class. And you see Robert Woods, another interesting move, going to Houston. So how does this affect them in the draft? I'm going to get to that a little bit later. But right now, linebacker. And looking at their scheme, like I said, you see that base 4-3, Travis Gibson, those type of guys. You may think before, if they were talking about Will Anderson, that's the type of guy maybe you fit him into your scheme, even though I don't think he's a 4-3 defensive end. Maybe you try to stand him up. Maybe you would have fit him into the scheme. But now I think he's out of the picture. Jalen Carter could still be in play, which is interesting. Something we have to talk about. Will Seattle pounce on him? Will Detroit pounce on him? Will teams like that try to get Jalen Carter amid all the speculation that's going on right now? Interesting. Zach Cunningham played for Houston, played for Tennessee, a veteran linebacker. We don't see his name a lot, but we see guys like Eric Kendricks, Levante Davis. We got the cap space. Just in case you need to see, we have the cap space. We have the most cap space in the NFL right here. That's $75 million. That's not petty change, what we're talking about with the Chicago Bears. So, like I said, Eric Kendricks can be in play. I think you can get a Pro Bowl season out of Eric Kendricks. Levante David. What is Levante? Because all these guys don't have market value, but Levante David. Okay, so that's 9.7 for a linebacker. Levante David can cover, though. I think Eric Kendricks. So we'll probably see those type of guys going around that $10 million range. Bobby Wagner, type of guys like that. But when we look at what we can do, if we don't want to put money into that position, like I said, Deion Jones, athletic linebacker, on the smaller side, but still an athletic guy. Zach Cunningham, solid. Devin Bush, if that's the route you want to take it. Me being a Pittsburgh fan, wouldn't suggest that to you. But, like I said, this is a good, a solid class with some veterans in here. Kyle Van Noy, see him as more of an outside linebacker. TJ Edwards, will Philly try to get him back? Kaiser White, Leighton Van Der Esch. I'm not high on Leighton Van Der Esch. And I think, interesting enough, he is going to have a high value on this free agent market. I see some teams interested, but I'll tell you, slow down. If you want Leighton Van Der Esch to come in and be your guy, middle linebacker, slow that thought process down. Because your hopes, your dreams, they may get shattered if that's what you're depending on, if that's what you're banking on. So like I said, this is a lot of stuff. Chicago Bears, they can really capitalize off this. And I think defensive line is something they're going to look at in the draft. But let's look at this defensive line class. And it doesn't just have to be, for the Chicago Bears. Just who's out there. Frank Clark, just got cut by Kansas City. A cap casualty type of thing. But he's still a good player on the edge. Fletcher Cox, they brought back Brandon Graham. Will they bring back Fletcher Cox to add depth in that room? Veteran presence, we got to see. Robert Quinn, he came on with Philly, but he didn't have much of an impact from what I saw on tape. So, Javon Hargrave, that's the big name. To me, he's the biggest name in this free agency. Him, even Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, both guys off of the Eagles. Like I said, Daron Payne got tagged. Orlando Brown's out there. So, got some good stuff. Yannick Ngakoue, I think a 10-sack guy. Question the scheme fit a little bit, but maybe we can bring him in, line him up outside the tackle in a 5. Can do it. So, Jadeveon Clowney, like I said, veteran presence. Matthew Iodonis, a guy who you can play in the inside, on the interior. Ashawn Robinson, Ogunjobi. I think he can move up and down the line. Akeem Hicks. You already had Akeem Hicks before, so you know what that's like. Michael Brocker is cap casualty. Cleveland Farrell. And that's crazy. Just him coming out of college, coming out of Clemson, what we thought he would be, to now, it's kind of shocking to see how it played. Samson Ebukam, I think a team, whoever gets him, is going to be very happy. Poona Ford's out there. This is a pretty deep class as far as depth and veteran presence coming off the edge. Carlos Dunlap. Kansas City may want to get him back in that room. But like I said, you got so many options looking at this depth chart. Let me know in the comments what you want to do. And if you see some of these free agents, you may be a Jets fan. You may be a Cardinals fan. Who do you have your eye on? Because like I said, it's a veteran laden class. You're not getting high-end, game-changing, team-breaking talent. But you can get those key pieces that every team needs. And in a weaker draft class, that's important. Because, like I said, even at the top, these guys aren't coming in here like past draft classes. Maybe you could say Witherspoon, Gonzalez, Will Anderson, Bijan, some of the top guys like that. Maybe those are instant impact Pro Bowl caliber players in year 1. But as far as we get to the mid rounds, behind that, it's kind of rough. It's kind of rough in this draft. So, like I said, Justin Fields, this is your season. They're going to have something around you. Khalil Herbert, another guy. But really, I don't know if I'm bringing back David Montgomery. That's just my takeaway looking at what we have now, our capital. And we can just make so much moves. We can even make trades with this draft capital. Chicago Bears in a pretty good position. Going back to all positions. Oh, let me touch on the wide receiver class real quick, because this isn't a solid wide receiver class as far as free agency. We got guys like Julio. Alan Lazard may be coming on to a team. Jacoby Myers is my best free agent in this thing. We don't see him at the top. Adam Thielen. Jacoby Myers, Adam Thielen, younger. They're both productive. I have to go with Jacoby Myers in that situation. Robbie Anderson, a speedster. I question his attitude after that stint in Arizona. So that's where I'm standing with that. Nelson Aguilar, he seems like he's always a deep threat for teams, whether it be Oakland, Philly, New England. So Sterling Shepard, a solid guy, coming off an injury though. So that's something to be wary about. DJ Chark coming out of Detroit, another speedster, can line up outside, can line up inside. Team's going to have to keep their eye on Chark, because him, Randall Cobb, a veteran, Julio, I don't know. I don't think Julio has a huge market. Let's look at Juju. What is his market? Because now you see this. Who in the NFL is paying $14.6 million for Juju? I think that's a bit inflated, but let me take it a step back. We have to be open-minded about this, and I just said this is a weaker wide receiver class. So if a team's thirsty, we need a wide receiver. We gotta get it. Juju can play that card. He can say, okay, you need a receiver. My value is high in a lower receiver class, so you gotta take me. I feel I'm worth this. I may not be worth all of it, but I'm close enough to where you have to budge, you have to fold in and get me. So who are some teams going for Juju? I think Kansas City can really just want him back because Valdez-Scantling, he's also a guy I think that's up. So he's going to be interested in this, really. Odell, what is Odell going to do? I think it's a lot of teams that can be in play for Odell. Really, if Odell, I'm seeing some Matthew Stafford. Let's look that up real quick because I'm talking about Odell. What is Matthew Stafford going to do? And I think it's interesting because I personally would go back to Los Angeles. I mean, you got a home there. You know, it's kind of that play. But Matthew Stafford, and we see right here, if the Jets don't get Aaron Rodgers, is Matthew Stafford in play? I think really the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, they kind of all in on this thing. I think it's really a done deal up to this point. But also, on the other card of that, I think it wouldn't be surprised to me. It wouldn't surprise me if Aaron Rodgers comes out and say he's retiring. He's made a lot of money in his career, and I understand $60 million on the table. But if you don't want to play football, you don't want to play football. At the end of the day, it is a stressful game. He has to game plan. He has to take hits. So that can be in question. The Jets don't have the greatest offensive line. Probably going to get a tackle with that first pick in the first round. Got Mekhi Becton coming back. Is he really a guy that Aaron Rodgers can trust in on that blind side? So let's look at this article right here. And the waiting game continues for Aaron Rodgers. So, like I said, Jimmy G, and that's what I was talking about with the Raiders. An interesting team I want to talk about because I just said this to somebody. If, the Lions or Seattle still are in play for a quarterback, whether it be Levis or whether it be Richardson, whoever falls. So, if they take that, that leaves the Raiders in a tough position. I made a video, and you can see it right here. Jarrett Stidham, Brock Purdy, they had a shootout. Late game in the late season, they just came out there and they played ball. But I don't believe in Jarrett Stidham as my franchise guy. So with that being said, what is the route for teams like this? What is the route for the Commanders? What is the route for the Jets if they can't get Aaron Rodgers? You see Matthew Stafford, Jimmy G, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. Those are some tough options. So I think the Lions are really in play. If they don't want to go corner, but I mean, Gonzalez, Witherspoon on the board. If you feel like 18, maybe you can get Banks. I don't think Joey Porter's going to last to 18, but it's interesting. So now, how would Matthew Stafford fit on the New York Jets? Because he turns over the ball. That's what he does. If you want to say we're going to surround him with Breece Hall in that running game, in that defense, you can kind of make a sell to me. But like I said, it's tough at the end of the day. And I want to take this back. Some teams, Orlando Brown Jr., and it's another interesting class because I say, like we see, it's not a high-value free agency class. If you're coming in here trying to turn your team around, you're going to have a tough time. But when you're a team who need holes, just overall talent, like the Chicago Bears, who I aforementioned, this is kind of your type of thing. Because we don't got to play a bunch of guys high prices. So if we're the Bears, we don't have to pay a bunch of guys here. But what we could do in this situation, if we really wanted to gear towards that move, we can pay you. Okay, you get this, you get this, you get this. We work this out. And now when we look at the totality of our roster, it's a full roster. We really got this thing built from the ground up. So guys are going to be commanding in a cap space that's going up. You're going to see some overpays. Talk about Geno. Talk about Daniel Jones. Guys in that range. Adam Thielen may get a solid deal, which we don't think he should at 32 years old. Taylor Lewan being a left tackle, he can say, I was a left tackle on a contending team. I've put up some solid production, and I blocked for Derrick Henry. That's a lot to sell a team. And he has some solid film out there. Also a pretty good guy as well, locker room type thing. So he might get a deal. You're saying, whoa, whoa. Leonard Floyd, edge rusher. Think he still has a little bit in the tank. Donovan Smith had a terrible season. I don't know what his market is. Actually, let's look. So we're looking at it. And this is a left tackle, calculated market value, $19.5 million. After the season we saw, with the holding penalties. It was bad. It was bad, 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 bad. That's going to wrap it up for today's video because, like I said, not really just focusing on one team. What are the rumors surrounding that team? We're focused on here. These players. Who are the high-end players? What are we thinking? How are they looking? What is their value on the market? And as these moves come out, you're going to see rapid fire videos. Like I said, you can count on this channel all week because we're going to be reporting these moves. If something comes out today, later after this video is posted, expect another one. So like I said, with that being said, thank you for watching. And as always, we out.